Good morning. Good morning to, thank you so much, Laura and Esther, for having us present to our wonderful group of counselors. I just want to say thank you so much for the amazing job you did last year. I hope all of you had a great break and took some long naps and rested because we're coming back in person. And I just want to start by thanking you now before the school year starts because the demand of the job is going to be tremendous as we do our best job to support our families and students. So with that being said, I'm really happy to engage the group, the audience, and we're really looking at the nuts and bolts of concurrent enrollment. I have a couple of my team members that will be facilitating the conversation as we engage for this next 40 minutes to an hour in regards to concurrent enrollment. As a district, we've done a tremendous job of really solidifying pathways from CTE to, in some cases, credit recovery, in other cases, electives, from high school to one of our 9 community colleges in our partnership with LACCD. 5 years ago, AB 288 was legislation that helped us build a partnership with not only with LA Unified as a school district to LA Community College District across their 9 schools. And in the past, this was something that was an individual task. School.
I think we've lost. Oh, Jesus, we lost you for a moment. You're back.
We're set to renew this partnership to continue this for the next 5 years. So we've developed some great pathways. Our dual enrollment has increased. We've had some great articulation commitments with our partners in LACCD. So with that being said, that's sort of a macro overview, and we're going to go into the general partnership with this MOU, the equivalency of course and what we're able to do to match college courses to our internal courses, and really looking at the study of practice of concurrent enrollment as we work at this. With that being said, I'll dish it off to Shelly, and we also have Vanessa De Leon as part of this presentation. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go over some of the objectives, and basically what we want to do is make sure that we're strengthening and enhancing your role as a counselor in the concurrent enrollment process. So with that being said, we're going to go review the nuts and bolts of concurrent enrollment and AB 288, review current offerings of college courses on and off site and current school process, and gain a deeper understanding of the process for course equivalency request. So first, go ahead and in the chat, please add your answer to this question. So why should schools consider dual or concurrent enrollment as an option for students? And you can go ahead and just add your response to the chat. Yes, thank you. High school and college credit experience. Chance to take a course with the high school support, definitely. The job experience component, definitely. Post-secondary options, access, definitely to all students. Yes, opportunities, exposure, competitive university applicant, definitely. Thank you, gross. Career options. Yes, definitely want to have that enriched experience, high school experience. Yes, definitely academic and technical education. So with that being said, we're going to move over to the next slide. And so what are the benefits? So some of the benefits, just as you stated, was access, experience, and exposure to college courses. Courses will allow a student to earn high school credit. It's free. Career and college major exploration definitely helps them identify some interest and also their ability, their self-efficacy, right? We definitely want to build that self-efficacy in all our students. So what do these additional opportunities mean for your students? Go ahead and just drop your response in the chat, please. So what do these additional opportunities mean for your students? Yes, gives them choices. They leave high school more confident. Confidence and ability helps them with their acceptance or applications. Growth, self-efficacy. Thank you. And as so some of the major points is making sure it's that access component, right? Acceleration, preparation. So with the access component is making sure that coursework can be used effectively to provide additional access to challenging college preparatory curriculum to students. Accelerations allows qualified students to fulfill high school graduation, sorry, there's a typo there, requirements, while simultaneously gaining that college and vocational credit, certificate, diploma, college degree, preparation, college level curriculum, and post-secondary education. So with that being said, we have our College and Career Access Pathway Partnership Act, otherwise known as AB 288. And I will turn it over to Jesus. And Jesus kind of touched upon this earlier in regards to this assembly bill and our partnership with LACCD. Jesus?
Yes, thank you. So back in 2015, there was a huge push at the state level of, and I'm going to say forcing, but really having school districts commit with partnering or geographic community college district and putting together a partnership. 5 years ago, we were the first school district in the entire state of California that had an MOU in place that finalized, both respective boards approved. And it really committed to that work that Dr. King had for us when she was our superintendent. She really wanted every one of our students, and that continues to be the push, to take a college class as they're in high school. This push has not only started, has existed in high school, but it has also branched out to our middle schools. Now, keep in mind, AB 288 does not cover our middle school, but you can see where the roots are starting at now, from our middle school up to the high school program, and really exposing our students to college classes. It's really trying to serve underrepresented students in higher education, really trying to expose them to those college level classes to close the achievement gap, not only in high school, but also close that post-secondary gap of exposing kids to what it is to take a college class. And the research has shown that once kids start taking college classes, the relevancy to that work only extends out as when they start applying. And more importantly, if their first time into a post-secondary institution, their comfort to apply, to avoid the summer melt, and to get into that fall enrollment. Now, the one thing that was very methodical in our planning with our community college is really looking at the career technical education. And this is where really Esther came in as a partner, and really looking at her certificate pathways, really looking at the fruition of those courses to make sure when our students took a high school CT class and we matched it up to a college class, there was something at the end for our students. Also in the legislation that calls out to improve graduation rates. And that really has to do with bringing in courses, and in some cases, their credit recovery, and many other cases, their courses for enrichment, and really helping our students to be college and career ready. The one thing that's an added advantage to this pathway is geographically, as you look at the district, we're huge. And there's geographic schools that have a natural articulation. Like, for example, in the east side, schools like Roosevelt, Garfield, Wilson, Lincoln will naturally gravitate to East LA College. Schools like Jefferson, West Adams, gravitate naturally to Trade Tech. Schools down in the South, such as Banning, Gardena, will gravitate to Harbor. But what this allows now is any one of our high schools, which there's about 173, can partner up with any of the 9 schools in this geographic area. Initially, they wanted a direct relationship, but we thought it was important to have that openness to be able to connect to any one of our community colleges. Because in some community college, they have a more defined pathway to possibly a more of a certain type of technical certificate or certain elective classes that if, for example, they don't have them at ELAC, you might be able to get them at Pierce. And if you have a willing professor that's able to travel, it only adds all our 9 schools as a potential library of courses to support every one of our 100. So now the part, is this my slide, Shelley, or yours?
Oh, it's mine. This is mine. Sorry about that.
No worries. So the partnership and the procedures, with the MOU being developed, it was a master agreement with our entire district. The courses must be offered at LAUSD campuses strictly to district students within the school day. As part of the requirement, not the requirement, but the process piece, connected to the MOU is an addendum. It's what we call a very soft application of just courses being offered, the facilities in use, and just tracks the courses being taught to the expectations from community college to school. The students at no point will be charged for textbooks. What LACCD has become is very savvy of, in many cases, not using textbooks, but using online resources, or the professors being resourceful with online instructional supports. Any student with an IEP can also enroll in AB Tutor. It does not limit ELs. It does not limit any of our SPED ed kids. All those resources are still there for them. If we can go back real quick, just to touch on that. Oh, I touched on the ELs. Thank you. Okay. All right, Shelley.
So just to continue with what's covered in the MOU is LACCD instructors will not teach high school credit courses, and LAUSD teachers may teach college courses outside of their contracted day. So that's just a good bit of information to know. Geographical scope, Jesus spoke to this a minute ago. Basically, if there's a course that's being offered at another community college that's not your neighboring community college, within LACCD, that student can attend that other community college. So just to recap some of the areas of agreement. So we have the CCAP agreement covering all the schools. And as Jesus stated, the addendum delineates the specifics to the individual school site and then the individual community college. LACCD staff will not teach LAUSD courses, and LAUSD staff may teach LACCD courses outside their contractual day. The agreement will not limit student enrollment to any one community college. LAUSD and LACCD will collaborate to provide funding for textbooks and will provide services to our specialized population. So that's the major gist, just reiterating what Mr. Angulo had just shared. So going into the addendum, this is an item that needs to be filled out by this individual high school and the local community college within LACCD. And so I just want to stress to you that it must be an LACCD. It cannot be, though SMC may be your neighboring school, it wouldn't, this would not be valid with SMC. So just want to make sure everybody is aware that it is within the LACCD.
And that's a good point to highlight. So sometimes we get interested schools in the periphery of Valley Unified that they want to partner up with a different community college. For example, in the Northeast, sometimes we get inquiries by the Eagle Rocks, the Marshalls, the Lincolns of possibly going into Pasadena, or in the West Side going to Santa Monica. So with the LACCD being an agreed upon partner in this MOU, we have to ask for their release or permission to be able to enter in a separate MOU with a neighboring community college. Those won't be AB 288. That would just be a separate partnership altogether. And those have happened. In particular, this year, we had a language program that on the West Side, I believe West LA couldn't offer the courses that were being requested. Santa Monica City College had the courses. LACCD agreed to release, and we were able to enter an external. But there's a process, and if that's something your school wants to do, please let me and my team know, and we'll support you in that. But in this particular, this is really supporting our 9 schools within our LACCD. Thank you.
Yeah, and at the end of the presentation, we'll provide you a copy of the presentation as well as the contact information for your local district counseling coordinator. Now, I believe this was mentioned earlier about the California State Dashboard and the College and Career Indicator when the workshop today opened. And so we're just going to go into how we're going to document all this. But first, it definitely applies in this situation. It says completion of 2 semester, 3/4 of dual enrollment with a passing grade will be counted. And also completion of courses that meet the UC and the CSU A through G criteria will also be counted, plus one of the following criteria. So that's why it's so important that we also document this in our system. So I'm going to go into the documentation of the college courses. And one of the things I want to stress to you is the difference between the equivalent and non-equivalent courses. So there's a particular courses that fall under the AB 288 umbrella, which we've referred to as our equivalent courses. And then we have our other courses that are non-equivalent, but I'll speak to more on that in a minute. So how will these courses be captured, right? So these courses have to be entered into MICES, whether they're on or off site. So all the students must be scheduled into the appropriate equivalent. And once again, I stress that equivalent piece, MICES course, using what we call our C courses. And I'll show you a snippet of them. I know you're very familiar with them and how to access that information. So definitely when our students are going to take a course, we also want to make sure all the forms are completed and signed. We want to make sure that get confirmation students are enrolled. Once the course is completed, ensure to obtain the grade and enter that final grade for each student into MICES.
Shelly, we're gonna do a quick pause. I know Vanessa has been monitoring the chat, and I'm gonna ask her to articulate a few of the questions that have been placed in the chat by our counselors. So Vanessa,
do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that at the end?
We'll just do a quick check-in.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Okay, yeah, thank you. There actually was just one question back about AB 288, and the question was from Jacqueline Salcido. Does the AB 288 addendum have to be filled out each semester when college courses are offered?
Yes, because at times courses that are being offered are different and distinct from fall to semester. So yeah, they have to be separate. And at times we have professors that change mid-year as well. So yes, there's a separate set of addendums for each semester just to keep track.
And just as a reminder, you also need to please provide, ensure that you're providing a copy of those forms to your local district counseling coordinator.
Right, thank you, Shelly, I'm sorry.
That was the only question.
Okay. Okay, I will continue. Let's see. One of the things that we want to stress to everyone here is the importance of signing, and this is just in general for any for any college course, right, is filling out and making sure you have that signature piece where the counselor has authorized the student to take the course. This is critical because at times we have students that take a course and the course was never discussed as far as the student taking it with the counselor. The counselor never approved the course. So we want to make sure our students are aware that it is critical that they meet with the counselor to make sure to get that authorization. Additionally, on the form, we ask that you fill out and indicate whether the student will receive high school credit along with college credit, or is it just a college credit course only? So things to consider before getting started. So before you get started, you want to also be familiar with Bulletin 1040.4. So we have two bulletins that are relevant to our discussion today. And we have them linked at the end for you. And one is Bulletin 1040.4, and the other one is in reference to AB 288. So let me see if I have the number with me, but I have it at the end. So you will have access to both of those policies for your review. We're giving you the general gist of both of those policies. Just going back to this item now, ensure that the master schedule has been committed for the applicable school term prior to the creation of the sections. Determine the total sections needed and correct course names, numbers required for setup and placement. Prior to creating new sections, determine whether the session will be offered, when it's going to be offered. And review the master schedule to determine if the concurrent enrollment class sections already exist for the designee. And then just a caveat, MISIS does not allow multiple concurrent enrollment sections with overlapping section details. So this is what our C courses look like. We have included the link at the bottom so you can access this information. And on each tab, you will find all the courses related to math, all the courses related to art, etc. We do ask that you keep a close eye on that notes section at that last column. So that last column goes, will let you know if the student needs to take a prerequisite or he needs to take the class in addition to another class in order for it to count towards a high school graduation requirement. So you need to please pay close attention to that notes section. And then also for high school credit, the course must be listed or equivalent to a course on this course articulation agreement. So this, just like I said a minute ago, the special considerations, for instance, this is one for the arts. So visual arts must be taken with the art history 1 or 2 concurrently or previously to earn that high school credit. So please, I just want to make sure to remind everyone, please pay special attention to that notes section. The student cannot receive high school credit if they have not fulfilled all sections required. Also, we wanted to share with you where you can find this information. This is on our website under the concurrent enrollment. On here, you will find the link directly to that, to all the courses listed. So, and this, the website is also, the link is also at the end, provided at the end. So things to consider before getting started. This is more of the glossary. Just on campus and off campus, what does that refer to? Our enrichment courses, please keep in mind that those start with digits of 15 and are phrased non-equivalent college in the course name. So these are the courses, a list of the generic course numbers by the subject is stated below. So if it falls into one of those, then you would use these course numbers and you would not use the C course numbers. So the C course numbers are only for the equivalent courses. Anything non-equivalent will be these generic numbers. Okay. And those are just another snippet of those course numbers and those course titles. This is what the course number for the C equivalent courses looks like in MISIS. And just to make sure everyone is in sync with the equivalent and non-equivalent. So equivalent are the courses that have been reviewed by LA Unified and are equivalent to an approved LA Unified course. Courses will post to the Mises High School transcript, and students will receive an academic mark and numerical credit. Versus a non-equivalent course are the courses that have not been reviewed by LA Unified. These are the courses that are taken for enrichment, and these will post to the Mises High School transcript and receive numerical credit. So if you're wondering, how do I get a course on that list? So our wonderful CTE team has been working diligently on expanding that course list and we want to provide our students with as many opportunities as they can. So they have been working on a lot of this process that I'm going to explain in a minute. So equivalent concurrent enrollment courses. And actually, let me see. So this is a course equivalency process form. So it's going to go through a process. We have this document linked at the end for you if you're interested in having a course receive equivalency. And it's fairly simple. We just ask for some information, and we ask that you submit your course description and a copy of the course outline, as well as this document filled out. So on this document, you'll include your school information, the high school course information in section 1, the college course information in section 2. Again, providing that course description, the copy of the course outline, and then you would provide it to our office. So you will send that to myself and to Vanessa DeLeo. We are both our emails are listed at the end of the presentation and our contact information. So we ask that you fill this out. It's not very time consuming, but we just want to make sure that we have everything ready so that when our content coordinators review it, they have the information that they need. So in addition, let's see, the high school course information, we do ask that you indicate whether it's a UC or a CSU honors course, if it's a certain pathway, is it a CTE, A through G approved, etc. Okay.
Shelley, we have a few questions in the chat, and I believe somebody was raising their hand also. Do you want to?
Okay, sorry, I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so first, if a student takes multiple non-equivalent courses, this is from Teresa, can they be added multiple times on their transcripts for multiple credit?
So you're referring to, let's see, these courses here?
Yes.
Yes. So we just, I believe, Jesus, was there a, I think it was summer that there's a limit, and that's only for summer.
Only for summer, but so what would happen is you would only build on your total credit, but it wouldn't mark off any graduation requirement or any internal course equivalency. It would just be generated to a greater total, 2 credits attained at the end of your high school career.
Second question is from Ramon, and he stated, so equivalent is equal to bulletin, whereas non-equivalent is equal to all else / enrichment.
So equivalent, all the equivalent courses are on that course list. So those will receive a grade in the credit. And then the these are all the non-equivalent, the ones. And those will only receive the credit.
Credit.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, non-GPA implication is just credit total.
Okay, and the next question is, when would we use the college course? Now we're talking about college course equivalency process. For example, if a student takes an art class at an LACCD school and we wanted to count for a student's VAPA for high school.
Yeah.
So then you would submit this course form.
Yeah, what would happen? It's a great question because we get those inquiries many times, especially on their elective areas. So what would happen is you would submit the course equivalency. One of our content coordinators, which we have different content coordinators within the Division of Instruction, would go over our district requirements and what we foresee as a course meeting credit, as it connects to the state, as it connects to internal scope and sequence, a curriculum. And if there's a match, then they would equate it to that course number. And then we would populate on our 1040 bulletin guide. Now, one thing that has changed within our CCAP, our AB 288 MOU agreement, we've made the attachment and what we call attachment A, course of equivalency, a live form. In the past, we had to go to board or go through a change of policy to bring in new courses. Now, as soon as courses are captured, they're matched up to one of our internal courses. Those courses become living within our, in what we call our master course file. Okay.
And then this is just what we call where you can find all the courses, right? So, and the link is at the bottom, so you can access this course list. So after you complete the equivalency and the course is identified as being equivalent to one of our LAUSD courses, the course will be added to that list. Let's see, where was I? Oh, is there any other questions? Sorry.
Yeah, there's still a few more. If a student took a class for enrichment and that course has been approved by LAUSD as an equivalent course, should the course be listed in MISIS as a non-equivalent or as the equivalent course?
If it's been approved as an equivalent, it would be the equivalent.
Next question, can non-equivalent courses be counted as elective credits?
Yes, those are counted as elective credits.
When entering the non-equivalent courses into MISIS, do you also enter a grade or is it a P for pass?
The P.
Okay. Lynn Fernandez asked, you would not want to fill out this form if they are using this for college, correct?
If they're using it for college?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So if they were taking a college course and they're trying to gain as many college classes, because I think they could take up to 12 units to use them for transferable credit, they wouldn't want to add these into their transcript for high school. You can't double dip, correct? You can't use it for high school and college.
It's only those courses. I know it gets a little fuzzy. And one of the things we're working on is actually to explain that a little better in the policy. But yeah, there's only those particular courses are the courses that we ask that be added to the transcript, to our transcript.
Last question, for middle school students who take a college course, can they only get college credit or can they get middle school credit too?
Just college credit on transcript, it wouldn't count towards anything that's middle school because we don't have any equivalent to middle school. Yeah, if they happen to take math or a LOTE, and if there's equivalency, they might be able to get LOTE credit, but that credit,
They
numerical,
won't receive numerical credit.
it will not transfer over to high school. The only times you get, the only opportunities for numerical credit is the summer before your 9th grade year if you take a college class.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it.
Great questions, very good
I have
question.
one question. If it's a non-equivalency class, do we have to fill out a form for it as well? So if we wanted to qualify for college, but not get the credits, and I have a thinking behind that on why I would do it. I could talk to Jesus separately, but could we also do that?
This form needs to, you talking about the authorization form?
So I have two questions really. How is it triggered? What's triggering the matrix for
The matrix would be all the C courses.
So all the C courses. So once we have
All the
that,
C
for a
courses.
student, then it would trigger our school to say we have this, we are working in that matrix. Is that correct?
Correct.
So let me just go student specific. I'm at a continuation high school, so you could understand how challenging it is to balance this act of dual enrollment. So I have a sociology class that they're taking at one of the colleges, but also sociology is in our master. Let's just say, and we're doing this during the school day. So teacher, student is sixth period sociology, to safety net them. What if they don't pass the college class, but they actually pass the class for high school? Then shouldn't they be able, I don't want to double dip. I don't want to say, oh, I wanted to, if they pass sociology, they get 5 credits. And then if they pass the college class for sociology after school, then they get that 5 credits as well. I don't want to do that. I want to only get 5 credits, but I also want to be able to show that they took it at a college as well. So my thinking is 6th period sociology, 7th period, which is not part of our school day. It's a non-attendance, we enroll them in that as well. So now they're taking both of these classes literally at the same time, but making sure it's going to both things. Yeah, the college, yeah, high school credit, but not double dipping.
Let's connect afterwards to see how we can best support
Got it.
your efforts, because there's some unique situations where classes might be counted differently.
Yes.
So I just want to see which courses you're what courses you're identifying and where they're going to make the best match.
Got it. We'll talk about it because it is very unique. I just want to do it right. And I also want to make sure we're getting CTE qualifying for our school, and students are safety netted, and that are actually getting the experiences that they need for what we intend them for. It's very complex. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great question. We'll follow up with you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
There are 2 more. If a school submits a course to be aligned and approved for credit and it is approved, are all other schools students allowed to receive the same credit even if they are at another LAUSD school, or does the other school have to fill out a separate form?
No, once it's approved for all.
For everyone.
Last one is from Ms. Kokorian. Can you describe the difference between articulated courses, concurrent, and dual enrollment courses? Do articulated courses have to be in the course equivalency list?
It all depends on the pathway, because that's what we're trying to work with CTE, is defining our pathways with articulated courses. I do know, working with Esther, and this has been one of our ventures, and you can help me dive in on this, Esther, is trying to have our LACCD partners commit to those articulated pathways and trying to get those ending certificate courses. Remember, Esther?
Yes, absolutely, Jesus.
And
We want the kids to end up with a certification, and
yes. So it all depends on the pathway, because that's one defined pathway through AB280. Then we have other pathways that are defined by IGETSI, trying to look at courses to match up to transferable units. This really is Genesis starts with the student and what their motivation is and what they're taking their college classes for. And then we look at matching up articulated pathway courses, and dual enrollment are sometimes courses you take after school on the weekends. And those are also articulated in some cases.
and we'd like those CTE courses to be IGETSI courses, so they do transfer to the college.
Absolutely. In some of our schools that are middle college, Dr. Vladovic, Harvard Teacher Prep, we have kids that when they finish high school, they're also finishing up their AA degree in some cases. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a cluster of 33 kids that not only got their high school diploma, but were able to go through the IGETSI and get their AA and be 2 years ahead once they transferred or went into their post-secondary school. So it all really depending on their defined pathway. But thank you for the question, Lindsay.
That was it. That was the last question.
see here. All right, so that brings us to the end of the information we wanted to share with you all. You can find here all our contact information. Like I stated, we have the form on the last slide, and this PowerPoint will be shared with you. So you'll have access to all the documents as well that we were referring to. Also, please contact your local district counseling coordinator for more information or any questions you may have. And on the last slide, we have all the resources, some resources. So we have the policies, as well as the equivalency approval form, as well as the LACCD supplemental application for admissions. Is there any questions?
Also, to add to a resource, do keep in mind, all of you are represented by your different local district, also by your COSA. So this level of support is also provided by your counseling coordinator. What each LD does is they do their separate counselor trainings. And part of that training includes this presentation or something similar to Pathways to AB 288. So not only will you be getting it here, but I do know that our counseling coordinators will also present this. And then many times it happens during the fall semester when we get back to school.
All right, any additional questions? It's 11:40. No additional questions?
There are none in the chat currently, no.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Esther and team, for bringing us on. We're really happy to meet with the group and really get to our counselors, as we are a couple of weeks away from starting the school year. And I do know articulation with our community colleges are taking place now, as they're identifying professors, adjunct professors to support our many offerings that we will hope to provide at every one of our 173 schools. So thank you so much, Shally and Vanessa, for supporting, and thank you again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Jesus and Shally and Vanessa. We really appreciate you coming and presenting today.